In the power sector, for instance, we set out to achieve initially incremental power with a midterm goal of steady power and ultimately uninterrupted power. We focused essentially on completing what we inherited, and this led us, for example, to recovering 720 containers belonging to the Federal Republic of Nigeria containing transmission equipment that had been left at the Nigerian port for almost a decade. Those equipment ultimately found their way to over 100 substations across the country, and we have completed some of them by the time I left office. And I remember some notable ones like in Sokoto, in Mayobewa, in Ikurudu, in Ikotekpene, in Katankpe, in Akpo, to mention a few. I also remember that whilst we were managing the grid, we changed Nigeria's conversation from on-grid power alone to off-grid power. And for the first time, as far as I can recollect, Nigerians are now talking about and benefiting from off-grid power. A few examples are markets like Ari, Sura, markets in Ibadan, markets in Ondo, and by the time I left the ministry, we had set out a clear roadmap for 350 markets as a full implementation initiative for this term.
Mr. Fashola also cleared the air on the state of some road projects, especially completion of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and the second Niger Bridge. He also gave suggestions on possible ways of funding the major infrastructure projects.
Most especially about the Port Harcourt Road and perhaps Lagos-Ibadan. The common problem between them was always funding. At the time until tomorrow, I don't think Nigeria will ever run out of Naira. I think just to emphasize that there is still hope that those projects will be done, but perhaps the business model may have to be looked at again. Because as I said, if you have authorized government to get out of power, why should government be the one buying the power? And that's a business model that I think we need to look at again. Just to say again for Lagos-Ibadan and to PPPs, all of us are living witnesses to the fact that when a PPP was signed for that project in 2006 or 2007, nothing really happened on that road until 2012, when the previous administration cancelled it. So that's the kind of delays you can have. So there was 5 years of no activity, really, of visible activity. When it was cancelled, then it became a court case. And the same is true of the second Niger Bridge. By the time I took office, the people who were supposed to be the concessionaires said they couldn't continue, that the economic variables had changed. The agreement they were looking at was 165 naira to $1, and that as 300 and something, it was no longer economically viable. They were asking then the federal government to say, look, the traffic count here cannot meet our financing expectations. So give us a guarantee in dollars if the traffic count falls short. And I refused to recommend that. And I recommended that the federal government should take over its projects and continue. And I think with the benefit of hindsight, I can say that I am happy that my recommendations were accepted.